Sometimes life gives us additional chances for things that we wanted to accomplish, but for some reasons we could not. Maybe we were unlucky, or maybe it was our fault we could not, but it doesn't matter. There is no person who wouldn't change at least one little thing in their past or has never thought of beginning life from a certain point with their existing mind. The isekai genre is based on this concept exactly. Anime, manga, and light novels tells the story of characters who die and get reincarnated in a different world, which is essentially getting a second chance. If this kind of thing happened to a real person, it doesn't mean that person wouldn't make mistakes, especially if they have not learned from their past. Mushoku Tensei tells the story of a character exactly like that. Rudeus, who spent almost his entire life, 34 years, shut in his room. After his death, he got reincarnated in a new magical world. Right after Rudeus entered the new world, even though he had complexes due to his traumas, his behavior changed. In fact, the boundaries for his behaviors got erased. There were two reasons why this happened. First, Rudeus was in child's body now, so his immoral behaviors didn't have consequences, punishment or judgment. Second, the fear of death vanished for a moment from his mind, a fear that follows us our whole life and affects every aspect of it without us noticing. The fear of death in our lives often creates an umbrella of fears. Almost every anxiety we endure, whether it be the fear of failure or taking a step, if we dive deep into the reasons, we mostly find it ties back to our relationship with death. It's also really hard to deal with this problem because death, even though we get closer and closer to it every day, is imperceptible to our minds since it's not something actively present. Therefore, not only do we not deal with it, we don't even think about it. For Rudeus, of course, it was not the only problem in his first world, but it was the most important one. Thus, after he died and continued his life in a different world, his fears of everything disappeared for a moment and he felt comfortable in his new home. Despite Rudeus being given another chance to start a new life, his psychological problems caused by his traumas were not fixed. Even more, he had to face those problems again. We real-life humans don't get those kind of magical chances. Ours are always smaller and therefore we have to work harder to achieve our goals. But for Rudeus, the problem was not that life wasn't giving him chances. As the story progresses, we find out that his brother had been trying for a long time to help him in any way he could, but Rudeus himself was trying to avoid him. The beginning of his problem was when Rudeus in school tried to defend another person from bullies, which turned him into another target for bullying, causing him to shut himself in his room. But this is only the factual beginning, which was followed by action. We have to look for the real beginning in Rudeus' development as a person, where we could not find fear until he faced bullying because he had never thought about something like that. So before thinking about the topic, a problem had already started to develop, making it impossible to control the mind and use rational consciousness. Death, reincarnation, and beginning life from scratch in an unknown world helped him overcome the fear of death a little, which had a chain effect on his other fears and complexes. But trauma is not that easily treatable. Anxiety disorder in this kind of situation is based on nothing, so it might be treated by facing the object of fear, but of course facing everything altogether could cause much more problems. That's why the first step for Rudeus to heal was to leave the territory of the house. In the new world, the beginning, the causing matter changed for his problems, to completely new circumstances and situations that he had never thought existed and which didn't exist in the first world. He had to encounter with thinking beforehand. Before the action in his mind, before anything happens, he thinks about it and even comes to solutions for possible problems. That is what Rudeus does in every episode, so he can cope with everything much more easily, with a few exceptions. To cope with everything, the existence of Hitogami, a human god, helps him too. At least it helped in the beginning of the story, because he started to perceive the world as a game, so he was treating everything not so seriously, before he started to fall in love with his new family and other human or maybe non-human beings. We cannot compare the chance Rudeus got to the chances that life gives us, but it is noteworthy that Rudeus didn't even realize at first that this was another chance at life, which happens to all of us. Given that we are trapped in our anxieties, have excessive addictions to certain things, and so on, we treat these new chances similarly. Therefore, it is important for an individual to give great importance to their psychological problems and take care of their healing or development as a person. From Rudolph's example, while we cannot literally go back and change the beginning, we can completely dismantle and rebuild our thinking pathways, create a new beginning and forget the old one. We can call this reincarnation in a world perceived differently by us. That's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you to everyone who watched the video till the end. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until the next time.